Hello and welcome back to these videos on behavior management within Scholar. In this video we're going to talk about the script. So the script, you can remember, is the third sanction in our list of 5 sanctions, starting off with a reminder of the rules. The second sanction is talking about a caution, so that the students just take it a little bit more seriously, that there are issues, that there are sort of consequences to their actions. But the third level is the script, and this is where a set script really works well, particularly with schools that are really struggling with behaviour. And we actually want to get to a stage in those settings where the students know the script, that they know what's coming, that they know what is going to be asked, and that they have to then reply to it. That level of consistency completely defeats any behaviour management, because students just know what to expect in certain situations, and they'll just move away from those behaviours that are causing this sort of very boring, repetitive response from the school. So this script starts as follows, and what we're trying to do in all cases is to be completely calm, to model that calmness, and to be completely reasonable. And the most reasonable words you could start with are the words "I've noticed." I've noticed today, John, that you are struggling with being ready for school, for your lessons. Now that opening gambit is difficult to negate. It's difficult to say, well, no, I'm completely ready. It's like, well, I'm not saying whether you are or you're not. I'm noticing something, and I'm sharing that with you. The real response is, yeah, well, you might have noticed that because, yeah, I am struggling actually today. Something really horrific happened last night in my family, and I just can't concentrate. Okay, well, I'm glad we started with those words, because now let's go into what that situation was. It might be a death in the family. It might be something really tragic happened to a sibling. We don't know what's happening with these students when they walk in the door. They might be suppressing all sorts of fears and worries and situations. And it's way better to understand what the context is before we get into any sort of blame or apportionment of, well, why aren't you following the school rules? So I've noticed is how we start off the conversation. I've noticed this. I've noticed that you're struggling with getting on with that group of students today, and allow them to sort of respond in a natural way. If that doesn't bring any response and start a positive conversation, then you might want to say, well, look, this is the third time we've talked about this. I've given you a rule reminder. I've given you a rule reminder with a caution, and now we're still, that hasn't worked. Again, completely reasonable. It's completely reasonable. You are acting through a process that's clear, that's simple, and that is difficult to get angry about, or to say, no, yeah, that's a fair way for schools to be. So you're being completely reasonable. Let's go over the rules again. What are the rules? Let's go back to that. That's okay. We can use it once. We can use it twice. We can use it 3 times. This is the 3rd time we've talked about it. What are the rules? Ready, kind, and safe. It's impossible for you not to know what the rules are at this stage. Now you can go back and talk about the rules in that instance, or we can just jump ahead to the 4th stage, which is talking about a time when that student was doing the right thing, when they were ready for school, when they were being kind to that student. Let's put them back into a positive sense and frame of mind when things were going well and they were getting the attention that they seek for doing the right thing. And let's say now there's a choice. We can go back to behaving like that. We can go back to that behavior. Or we're going to have to go down a different route. We're going to have to go down potentially a punitive route. The next stage in the sanctions list is a timeout from break, a timeout from sport, a timeout from something that perhaps is going to hurt a little. Now, we don't want to get to that stage, because I'm not passing the buck on to anyone else. I'm going to be doing that timeout. But either we can solve this here and now, or we're going to need more thinking time. We're going to need actually just to reflect on this. And therefore, the power of the choice is that you dictate the terms, but you're including them, and you're saying, look, it's your next move. You're in charge of your own behavior. We've given you the guidelines. We want you to follow those guidelines. But at the end of the day, you do have to make a choice that you're going to do that. So there are the outlines of the script. I would have thought you'd only need to use it once, maybe twice in the whole summer. The aim is to avoid getting to that with a really positive atmosphere in the class, and students knowing exactly where they are, as soon as possible. But maybe more. You might need to employ that. I would recommend doing that in private. That's not always possible. You might need to just take a student aside for a moment. But stay reasonable, stay calm. You are the model of calmness that they need to copy, and work your way through those different steps. And many of these are sort of conversation starters, different ways of trying to get to the root cause of what's going on. And that's what we want to find, because at the root cause, it might be something irrational to you, but it might be something really, really real and slightly terrifying to them that's causing, again, their brain to be sort of taken over with either sort of a fight or flight sort of reaction. So let's get to the bottom of why students are behaving in a certain way, if we possibly can, and then take things from there. Okay, thank you.